See, in between lectures, you can post your queries. If you have any doubt regarding any topic which we are studying, you can put it in the chat box. After the 40 minutes lecture which I am going to take, you are allowed, you are free to unmute yourself and you can ask me one-to-one question. Or else, if you feel shy that you can't ask me by unmuting yourself, you can just put it in the chat box. I'll read out the questions from there and I'll answer you. Okay? So now the first 40 minutes I'm going to take a lecture. It is going to be recorded also. It is already started now. And I'll be uploading this all recordings of these chapters in my YouTube channel. I'll be sharing the link with you all. As soon as I'll complete the chapters, I'll be sharing the contents also, e-contents. It will be proper notes given to you. You can sit and study at your home. Now, once I'll complete any chapter, next lecture, I'll be first having a quiz kind of thing for that chapter. And you have to perform that quiz, you have to submit the quiz, and I'll be evaluating and I'll be submitting the score to you. Okay. So now we are going to start with your chapter 1. That is Understanding Java EE. Now EE stands for Enterprise Edition. And all the contents, whatever we are going to study, it is going to be with the reference of your reference book given by the university. That is Java Enterprise Edition, 7th version by Sharnam Shah and Vaishali Shah. Okay, so before we start with this chapter, the two terms which they have written over there, that is Java EE. EE that stands for Enterprise Edition. Now, out of that Enterprise Edition, what do you mean by editions? So editions means it is something the form of versions. Now, what do you mean by versions? Say, for example, I have a Java versions. We have studied already about the history of Java in SYBSCIT. So there we studied about that the number of versions has been released by the company called Oracle for Java. Starting from 1995, the very first version was released in 1995. So now after that, number of versions came. So latest version of Java right now in the market which is available is Java 14, JDK 14. Okay, and it was been released in the month of March 2020. For your knowledge, please remember this. Okay, you are studying a subject, you should know what is the latest version you are having and you are studying. See, we are using JDK 8 still, but we have a latest version that is Java 14, which was released in the month of March 2020. So what do you mean by edition? It is something known as versions. Okay. Now, if I can give you an example for that, what can be the example we can have in this? The total number of copies of a book. So now, for example, if I'm publishing one textbook, now that textbook is not going to be there for the rest of 10 years. It has to be updated. So whenever I am going to update the copy or the book, it is going to be considered as a new version. Another example is your newspaper. Maybe many newspaper publishers are there who is going to upgrade themselves. So they are coming up with the new versions of newspaper. Or it can be other published materials which can be issued at one time. Now, when we talk about the history of Java, we know already this, what are the history of Java starting from 1995. We started with JDK beta, then 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. Like this way, we have Java SE 12. Here, the last latest version has not been added because it is just released in the month of March 2020. So, 2019, we came across with standard edition of Java, that is 12th version. And March 2020, we have Java 14. Okay. Now, we studied about the term called edition. Now we study about the term called Enterprise Edition. Why we are learning this Java Enterprise Edition? So, in coming slides, you are going to study about the types of editions. Okay, so we have 3 types of editions. One is Standard Edition, one is Micro Edition, and one is Enterprise Edition. Now, whenever you talk about the Standard Editions, so what do you mean by standard editions? When I say that it is a programming language, Java is a programming language, I'm just using to have some desktop application, that is something known as what? Standard editions. Now, why we are having the Enterprise Edition? Enterprise Edition is an extension of your standard edition. Or in a very simpler way, if I can tell you, your Enterprise Java subject is an Enterprise Edition of your core Java. Okay, so core Java was a standard edition which was allowing you to have some basic, concepts and basic applications to be developed using that platform. And if I wanted to have some bigger application, bigger web application, complex application, I can just extend it and I can use the enterprise editions. Okay, so now the enterprise edition is an extended version of your standard edition. Why it is an extended version? Because it consisting a set of specifications which was maybe not present in your standard editions. It was extending your Java standard edition, which I told you, with specifications for enterprise features. What does it mean? You can have a complex application, you can have an enterprise application. For creating that, you need a number of features. Now, what kind of features you require? You require a distributed computing, you need a web services. So that all been provided in your enterprise edition. These all specifications has been provided in this particular edition, in this particular version. So that's why it is said that standard edition was not having all this specification. It was been extended and it is been known as something called as enterprise edition. Now, we have a term called J2EE. I don't know whether I have informed to you or told you about this in SY BSc IT, but generally I teach in core Java also. What does it mean, J2EE? J stands for Java. EE, we know that it stands for Enterprise Edition. 2 stands for second version. So what we can say that your Enterprise Edition was being introduced in your second version of Java. There was a standard edition existing, but in the second version of Java, when we came across that the Java can be used for a greater applications, bigger applications, so the company has also introduced another version, another edition of Java, which was known as Enterprise Edition. So that's why it has been written as J2EE. It says that Enterprise Edition was been introduced in your second version of Java. Okay. Now, J2EE is a platform independent, but obvious when we say that Java is your platform independent language, so J2EE automatically becomes your platform independent technology. Okay. So J2EE platform consisting of various things. It consisting of set of many new services, many new features, APIs, protocols, which is going to help us to have the functionality to develop the web-based applications, the complex web-based application. So this was not been getting from the standard edition. There are number of APIs, there are number of features available in standard edition. Nowhere it is, lesser than your enterprise edition. But the purpose of developing the applications differs in both enterprise and standard editions. So your J2EE providing number of things more than the standard editions. That's why we can use it for the more complex applications. Now, I'll just go with the history of your J2EE. So your J2EE, as I already told you, it was being introduced in your second version of Java. That's why it is written over here, J2EE 1.2. And it was been introduced in 1999. You can see J2EE was introduced. 1.3 version was introduced in 2001, 2003. Like that way, when we came across with the fifth version, which was introduced in the year 2006, it was been renamed as Java EE 5. Now it was no more been called as J2EE. J2EE was only been called till it was reaching to 1.4th version. So Java EE 5, Java EE 6. Now the latest one is Java EE 8, but we are studying Java EE 7 in your syllabus. As I already told you about the editions types, so we have 3 Java editions. So that is first one is your standard editions, second is enterprise edition, third one is your micro edition. Now we'll see one by one what exactly all these editions means and how they have the applications. We are going to start with the very first, that is what your Java standard edition. Now, the very first statement, what exactly it is saying, that it is the most important edition because it was the one which was started with your Java. Java has actually started with this edition. So it is very important. It is a base. You cannot study enterprise Java if you don't have the basics of core Java. That is actually, I can give you an example for this. So enterprise editions are there, micro editions are there, there are a number of editions are there, but the base is always be there with the standard edition. So it is one of the important edition we have. So when we people talk about, the term called Java, they usually refer to this edition. When I say that Java, a programming language, I'm going to use it, we are referring to basically to the standard edition. Okay. Now this edition is whole and soul meant to run on desktop machines and servers and embedded version. So you can have your applications, you can create your applications for your desktop, you can create your application for your servers or for the embedded machines using the standard edition. Now Java SE is mostly meant to create the standalone consoles. You can create desktop GUIs, you can create the headless applications like your IoT, you can create the external libraries also. That means you can create the APIs. See, when we studied about the core Java, no, that time also I have given an example that how we can have an option to create the new APIs for the existing Java package. So I have a predefined library and packages for Java. Okay. And if I wanted to create, or if I wanted to have some new feature to be implemented in Java, which is not present right now. So what I can do is I can create a new API, I can create a new packages, I can create new libraries for Java, and I can integrate it very easily. So standard edition is giving you that option also. So we'll just see that standard edition, when say we studied that when we say that it is a Java or a Java programming language, we just directly refer that it is a standard edition. What can be the application of standard editions you can have? We can have a desktop programming, what we have done it in your SYBSIT using the console application. We can use the applets as an application. Applet is again a programming where you can create your gaming applications. We have a big data apps, we can have a Java web start, we can have a applications which can be based and built upon the web apps that are not been fully your enterprise edition, but maximum it is a standard edition. Okay, what can be the famous examples we can take for the standard edition now? Minecraft Client, it is a gaming application which has been created using your Java standard edition. You can have the Eclipse, NetBeans, these are all the platform which you are going to use it in your TYBSCIT for executing your programs, for creating your applications. So that is all been created using the standard edition. Hadoop, this is a cloud platform, and ANTLR, this is something like you can use again, create using the standard edition. Now ANTLR, nothing but it is something you have an option to create the compiler, interpreter for any programming language using standard edition of Java. Now when we talk about the second edition, that is what your Java ME, that is micro edition. So what they're saying over here, when there was no era of iOS and Android, Java ME used to be happen and used to be created, used to be, create a platform for the feature phone and early smartphones. We can create number of games, we can create number of basic applications using this Java ME technology. Now, after the iOS and Android came into the picture, now Java ME is no more been considered and been used for the applications of your mobile phone. Nowadays it is not playing a major role anywhere. So it is something like been deprecated, or it is not been used much in your for creating your applications, because iOS and Android has already overtaken it. Now again, Java ME is something which is going to run on your small devices. It can be your smartphones, it can be your tablets. You can create the basic applications. What can be the application we can have? Cell phone apps, embedded apps, printers. The famous example, you can have it over here, like you can create an application for BlackBerry, for Android, for Amazon Kindle. You can have Sony Ericsson phones. For these purposes, you can use the ME, but right now it is not been using that much, because we have other editions in the market, another iOS and Android who are actually using all these things. And third, which is important one, because you are going to whole and soul studying these things in your whole syllabus in all 26 chapters, that is Java Enterprise Edition. So standard edition, some or the other way we have studied in your SY. ME we are not studying because it is nowhere now using into the market. we are going to study about the Enterprise Edition. Now, the Enterprise Edition, we know that it is built upon your Standard Edition because it is an extension of Standard Edition. It requires the Java SE should be installed in your machine. Then only it is going to support you. It adds lots of APIs in a lot of categories. So the categories or the APIs which is already there in SE is going to be taken by the Enterprise Edition, as well as the more extra libraries and APIs are being created for Enterprise Edition. So nowhere we are skipping any type of APIs from SE, but we are adding number of APIs to your EE. Now Java EE application usually run inside your JVM application servers. Now, if I consider that in SY, JVM, Java Virtual Machine, the very first topic in your first chapter we have studied, and I hope that people know about it. Okay, but still, if you don't know, we can just go with a brief, introduction of this JVM. What JVM is all about, Java Virtual Machine, it is something be known as what? Abstract machine. Now, we just have to understand over here one thing. As we say that Java is a platform independent language, what does it mean? It all happens because of one major role which has been played by the JVM machine, that is Java Virtual Machine. It is something being present inside your Java. I used to tell you that what JVM is nothing but it is like a package or a library which is running behind the scenes in your Java. So whenever you execute any program, your JVM is also getting executed. That is been coming in the form of library or a package. So that is an hidden machine present inside your edition in your Java package when you install JDK. So that development kit is also consisting one of the virtual machine which is going to help me for some reason. So now platform independence means what? When I write a Java code, that is been stored with the help of .java, okay? And after that, okay. So now JVM is, as I told you, that it is an abstract machine. It is a specification that provides the runtime environment in which the Java bytecode can be executed. So we know that the Java virtual machine is going to help me to convert my Java code into the bytecode. So when I execute my .java file, first of all, it is going to be converted by your compiler to your .class file, and that class file has been considered as your bytecode. And now the bytecode can be read by your JVM machine, and that JVM machine can be present in multiple platforms, like in your Mac, in your Windows, anywhere. So that JVM is going to present in your multiple platform, which is going to help to execute that bytecode easily. Okay, so now JVM is the one that actually calls the main method which is present inside your Java code. So you have to understand this. The JVM which is present inside your development kit is responsible to execute your main method. And we know that the main is one of the thread which is present in your Java, from where the actual execution is going to start of your Java code. Now Java applications are called WORA, that is something we known as write once, run anywhere. Okay, there's a diagram given over here, and if I'll say that Java code, that is .java file, has been created and now it is been compiled. It has been converted to your bytecode into .class file after compilation, and that bytecode is being executed by your Java virtual machine into the different platforms. So now what we can say, Java EE, that Java which is running on application servers. What are the applications we can have for Java EE? That is JSF, JSP, EJB, Hibernate. You don't have to worry about all these terms because this is a single chapters you have in your enterprise Java. So we are going to look into the detail what this JSF, JSP, EJB, Hibernate is all about, servlets. Okay. Now, what will be the example? The giant applications which is already there in your life is been created using the enterprise editions. Okay, so J2EE, that is Java 2 second version platform enterprise edition. Now it has a much larger usage of Java. For example, it can be used to develop a web services. You can develop a networking. You can have a server side scripting. You can have the various web-based applications using the enterprise version of Java. It is also been used. It has many components of J2SE. I told you that it is an extension. So many components from standard edition, it has been taken into your enterprise edition, along with the very new features like your servlets, Java Beans, Java Message Services. What these three terms are known as, that we are going to see in the further slides. And it is whole and soul adding a new functionality to the language. Now J2EE is also using your basic, scripting languages like your HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So to create the new web pages, to create a web services, and it is one of the most widely accepted web development standard. Now, when we talk about the enterprise application, according to Microsoft, what does it mean? An enterprise application is a business application. Now, when we talk about the business application, it's nothing but the application which is going to, a big application, complex application, which is going to scale in future. Scale means what? If I have 100 users in my applications, maybe in future I'm going to have a 1000 users in my application. So I should have a scope of scalability. It is going to be distributed application. It can be used for a mission critical applications. So this is something, according to Microsoft, said that enterprise application is nothing but a business application. Okay, the very important question in your chapter, that is architecture of enterprise application. So when we say that the architecture about the enterprise application, we have to understand that every application is going to have an architecture. Now, what type of architecture that application is following, that we have to understand. So if you know that we have, tier architectures, 3-tier architecture, 1-tier architecture, 2-tier architecture, n-tier architecture. So your enterprise application is having a 4-tier architecture. Okay, it is not 1-tier, 2-tier, 3-tier, but when we say that n-tier architecture, so n means any number of value you can take, and you can have the number of layers in your architecture. So here I am having 4-tier architecture in your enterprise application. Now that tier means what? It is something also known as layer. How many layers you have in your application, enterprise application? So I have 4 layers. So what are these layers? First layer is your client tier, or you can say client layer. You have a web tier, you have a business tier, you have a EIS tier. Okay. So now when we talk about the application, enterprise edition application, I have the very first thing you can see over here under the application 1. I have application client, I have enterprise beans, I have a database. Now when you talk about the client layer, it is whole and soul going to run into your client machine. And for running into your client machine, what all thing is required? We need some web pages which is going to be shown to the client, that can be built upon using the dynamic HTML pages or a JSP pages. You can use HTML and JSP for creating the web pages for a client, through which the client is going to communicate with your server. Second and third is what? Your web tier and business tier, which comes under your J2EE server machine. And here also JSP and enterprise bean is going to work together. Now JSP is working for a server side applications. Here the JSP and enterprise bean is going to work together for your enterprise bean. And third is what? Your database server machine, which is coming for the 4th layer, that is EIS, and it is completely going to work with your database. So you have to remember this architecture. It is very important as per your chapter. Now we'll see one by one all the layers. What does it mean? Client tier, which is going to run completely on your client machine. Web tier, which is going to run on your Java Enterprise Edition server. Again, the business tier is going to run on your Java Enterprise Edition server. Now, Enterprise Information System, that is your EIS tier or a layer, is going to run on EIS server, that is nothing but your database. Okay. So now what all challenges we are going to have of your enterprise application development? The very first thing is that programming productivity. Now, what does it mean? See, we have a challenge when we are trying to develop the enterprise application or a complex application and a bigger application. So first of all, the very first thing which is going to come across is the standard, the policies. That is also one of the challenge we can face. We can face the challenge regarding your application model. Whatever prototype model you are going to create, if you are making a model for your complex giant application, so this is also one of the challenge you are going to face. Response to demand, as I said, that there is an option, there should be an option of scalability whenever you are going to create an application for a customer, because you cannot restrict yourself for a 500 or 1000 customers. It can be 1 lakh or 5 lakhs. So there is a scope, there should be a scope option of scalability available. So that is also one of the challenging, because it requires lot of resources to scale from one point to the another one. Load balancing, say for example, in my application, on an average per minute 100 customers are visiting. Maybe there is a season where they, more than 1000 people is going to visit. So there should be an application which is going to handle this load. Okay, reconfiguration, for example, if you want to upgrade your software and hardware, there should be scope of that, because that is also one of the challenging part you can have in your development of an application. After reconfiguration, you can have a challenge of deployment again. Okay, another challenge you can have, integration with an existing system. That means the standard and the services which you are using it for your existing system, if you want to upgrade it, and then after you want to integrate it with the existing one, if you want to add some new feature to your existing application, there should be scope of that integration without any problem. So that is also one of the challenging part. Freedom to choose, you can have an option, you should have an option to choose your vendor, the product from which vendor you want to buy. The vendor should not give you an options for having the mix and match products. It should not bind you for their standards and policy. You should be free to develop your application without any problem. Security is everywhere is having one of the challenge. So like we have to deal with it. So the security is also again the major challenging, you have in your development of your application. Now, what can be the benefit of having the web applications? It is very simple and easy for the users. Changes can be incorporated, as we know that integration is one of the challenge, but with the enterprise edition, it is something been, made easy to have that changes, and it can be incorporated easily. This type of application can be easy to add the new features within your application. If you want to add any new feature, you can do it very easily. You can have a reduction in the total cost whenever you're going to create an application. Whenever you're making any changes, it will have a very reduced cost in your total cost. There will be a room for scalability, so you can ensure that your application can fit to the number of users which are growing, and you can have a scalability. Now, what all features we have? We have extensibility, we have scalability, we have an option to integrate the new technologies to your existing technologies, like the way we are extending, enterprise edition from your standard edition, because it was a demand to come across with the new features. So we did that very easily. And pruning the outdated APIs. Pruning means you're just cutting off the outdated APIs which is no more being used in your editions, which are outdated, which is no more being used in your application. Now we have some application technologies. Web application technologies also, and enterprise application technologies also. Means what? So which are all the technologies you have in your syllabus which you are going to use to create the web application? What all technologies you have? So if you'll see, every unit of your syllabus is talking about, new technology. The very first unit is going to talk about the Java servlet. So this servlet is one of the technology being used to develop your web application. And what do you mean by servlet? It is nothing but it is a Java program, a small program that runs on a server. Okay, so that's why it is something being known as server-side Java program, which is going to process and answer the client request. So what we can consider over here is, in short, that Java servlet is going to be executed on your server side. What is the major role of servlet in Enterprise Edition? It is something which is going to request, it is going to respond, it is going to process the client request. Now, the next one is what your Java Server Pages, that is your JSP. It is going to help you to create the dynamic content. Now, we have to understand over here, again, JSP is a server-side program. Okay, but now what is the difference between your servlet and JSP? They are doing the same thing. They are doing the web application development. They are the different technologies. That is the only thing is different. Okay, so both are server-side programs. Both are using technologies to develop the web application. What is the difference is that Java Server Pages are going to create a dynamic content using HTML, XML. Okay, means what? You can integrate your Java code inside the HTML whenever you are going to use a JSP technology, which was not there in your servlet. So if I want to have a client and a server, so what exactly picture you are going to see in your practical also? You're going to write some server-side code in your servlet, and you have to create a separate HTML file for your client. And now your client is going to access your HTML page to communicate with your servlet, which is running on server side. So client from the HTML is going to send a request to the server, and that server is having the servlet which is processing and responding back to the client to your HTML page. Okay, so now in Java Server Pages, what is going to happen? We can incorporate your Java code inside the HTML tags. That is one advantage we have. So it is something reducing the code from your Java servlet. Now, for doing that, for incorporating the Java code inside the HTML using JSP technology, how it is possible? Because we have some standard tag libraries in your JSP. That has been something known as what? JSTL, that is Java Server Pages Standard Tag Libraries. It is an extension of JSP specification by just adding the libraries, extra libraries in your JSP package. And that JSP tags are going to be used to incorporate your Java code into your HTML. The way we have HTML tags, we also have a JSP tags. And inside that tags, you can easily write your Java code. And one page is going to work both for client as well as for server. We don't have to create the separate client form and the server side code. Okay. Another technology is also we have for a web application development, that is Java Server Faces, JSF. We have Facelets, which is also been used, and it was built over your Java Server Phases. It was using HTML. So we can also consider here that JSF, Java Server Phases, working like your servlet. Facelet is working like your JSP. Okay. So these are the technologies you can have for web application. Now, when we talk about the enterprise application technologies, so what technology we have? The very first one is your enterprise Java Beans, EJB. Now, EJB is an enterprise.
Hello.
Hello sir. Hello.
शेवटची 5 मिनिटे तर नेक्स्ट लेक्चरला तुम्ही बघू शकता. आता आपलं पहिल्या लेक्चरचं टायमिंग संपलाय. पुढचं लेक्चर चालू केलं पाहिजे टाइम मध्ये.
ओके सर.
हे जेवढं रेकॉर्डिंग आहे तेवढं रेकॉर्डिंग तुम्ही बघू शकता.